gamers. This is No Bullshit Gaming Podcast and a Half Gamers, session number 6 already. We're discussing the latest news, fun stuff, and dropping some knowledge at the end, as usual. But don't forget, this is a 4 a.m. discussion, conference discussion vibe. So let's not take it too seriously, as we don't take it too seriously. But yeah, okay, let's dive in and enjoy. So hi guys, Felix and Jakub. How are you this week?
Hello there.
Good. I was at the SARS-CoV-2 gaming convention in London last week. Everyone
PGC?
was PGC. Anyone was there except you guys, which means you guys are the only ones right now in the entire game industry that don't have COVID.
Oh really? Okay, so that was okay, amazing.
I don't know. It was really great seeing everyone again, but so many people already have reached out and been like, "Oh, I got the Rona."
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid.
So I'm just sitting here waiting. Is this a headache or is it COVID? We'll see.
I was also at this other big social event that was happening. It was called Queuing for the Lost Ark servers.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah, I wanna try Lost Ark next week, most probably, because my wife's taking my daughter to a cottage. So, gonna be most probably alone at home. So it's gonna be me and either old fashioned or multiple bottles of prosecco and then some games. Not sure yet.
It looks pretty gorgeous, but the feature set again is just Korean. So there's like so much systems I even struggle to learn them all.
Oh no way! You are the master of Path of Exile, and you are the one that enjoys that so much. So, well,
but you better throw out that prosecco and replace it with coffee. It sounds like a difficult game.
Well, we'll see.
But like these guys don't mess around. Like the game looks completely gorgeous. It's like miles ahead of any competitor that's gonna come out, like Path of Exile 2 or Diablo 4.
Nice.
Like, yeah, this will be a tough fight, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Ooh, okay. I need to play it as soon as I can. Yeah, okay. And well, next week is going to be a special session, number 7, because we are going to have a guest. So definitely tune in next week. I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be, but
so a mystery one.
It's a mystery one, but we definitely are going to talk about the crypto and blockchain games. So we'll see. This week we are discussing a little bit of Google limiting ad tracking, then Spotify acquiring 2 major podcast tech platforms, and of course Supercell revenue increase by 45%. And then there is the main topic, which is going to be about UA fundamentals, and I want to have a discussion. So I'm going to ask some UA-related questions, and Felix and Jakub are going to answer those. And then I'm going to give my opinion at the end. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. So basically, Google announced the limited ad tracking across apps on Android. But this is going to happen most likely in 2 years. That's what they said. And they are following, obviously, the move that Apple did and introduced, a couple of months ago. All know what we are talking about. These changes will not be implemented, as I said, not even in the last 2 years. It's going to curb the sharing of the user data with third parties, restricting advertising tracking for users who move between different apps on billion devices running on Android. They said it's planned to eventually phase out all the advertising IDs, but they also said this is going to happen in the privacy sandbox, and they want to actually work with the industry to make it happen. So this is actually a really nice change when I'm looking at what Apple did, and they said this is going to happen. Then they postponed it multiple times, didn't share any information about anything, and now here comes Google, and it seems they are playing the developers friendly card. Really.
I remember Apple's working with the industry being the ads that they were running with 30 people chasing a guy and then disappearing them with just one button.
Come on. Look, we'll see what happens, but it's still like now we have 2 years. So I'm not going to do anything for next like 1.5 years in terms of like preparing for this, because when the Apple IDFA bullshit was announced, like everybody was like, "Oh wow, we need to prepare." Like, yeah, sure. Well, everybody prepared, and then they need to change everything because it was it was changed a million times. So yeah, let's see what happens.
I mean, it's just quite clear that Google's and Apple's business is so fundamentally different that I think that whatever Google does change in 2 years, it's going to be so much more ad friendly than the Apple solution. I remember having a discussion with a friend of mine who runs a DSP. He's had a product, and he says that even if you reset the IDFAs every 30 days, you'd still be able to get roughly the same amount of tracking and the same amount of conversions as you currently do for UA and retargeting. Mm-hmm. And I'm dare to say that I think Google will probably end up doing something like that. Maybe every 20 or 30 days, they just reset your IDFA or GID.
Mm-hmm. GID, yeah, okay.
Really? That's interesting. But is there any kind of power grab here that, like, let's say Apple did to kind of put traffic into the Apple search ads? Like, is Google following some kind of agenda here?
Come on. How much money, Matej, do you spend with Google compared to the other ones? Like, they already have it.
Yeah, they already have it, man. It's like, they have the Firebase, and you can run TRAS campaigns, which is basically the value optimization that's available on Facebook. And you can only run this if you use Firebase. What's Firebase? Google product, Google Analytics. So if you don't use Google Analytics, you can't run the most effective campaigns.
And do we expect any other sacrifices being, let's say, collateral damage lying on the ground, and as Facebook was hit again?
Most
so
probably,
more hit just on the same people.
Most probably. I mean, Facebook will be fucked even more. But Google is pretty much fine. They have their own ad network per se. I mean, UA channel, which is nowadays most powerful, to be honest. And they introduced even like ad ROAS campaigns. Firstly, it was a pretty interesting move because they said it's allowed only when you use AdMob as a mediation. So again, like keeping everything in their ecosystem. But now it's they finally listened and like, okay, so they opened it up for other mediation platforms as well. You just need to do some kind of like tracking of events and changing that on the back end, but it's kind of easy. So I mean, they're just empowering themselves basically.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I mean, it's not going to be as big a slap in the face as when Apple did it. So yeah, I don't think as many people are as worried. Maybe
we'll be surprised. You never know. Because for me, the IDFA shenanigans, it's still like I'm still pretty positive about all the campaigns on the iOS. It's just the matter of optics and different evaluation. That's it.
Okay, let's see. And any dates that at least the industry really expect this will happen?
2 years, they said.
2 years.
No.
And also they also mentioned that if industry and Google won't find any proper solution how to go about the privacy, they will postpone it even more.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the climate in Washington around splitting up big tech companies and regulation will also probably have a big say in this, because torpedoing like all this big ad tech companies and getting them off the GID in a bad climate in Washington was going to reflect extremely badly on Google as well. So these 2 years, also whatever happens in Washington will play a part.
Okay, interesting.
Okay,
well, maybe we'll see the Facebook stock drops even more.
Yeah, I was expecting it to drop below 200 yesterday, but it didn't happen. So.
Also, what Eric Suffer just tweeted was also important because Shopify also dropped quite heavily from I think it more than 50% since summer last year. It's like a lot of the small businesses advertising on Facebook, they use Shopify because it's pretty good solution for them. Well, I guess they are having a pretty hard time nowadays.
If Facebook continues the trend next week, it will be 50% from the peak. It's already 46% from the peak. So
Well, you're the one.
I did hear some rumors at Pocket Gamer actually that Cyril Schanberg is actually not like the second top dog up there anymore. Apparently, Nick Clegg is like viewed higher and reports directly to Zuck because he handled kind of the whole what was it called, the Cambridge Analytica scandal so much better than Cheryl. In his eyes,
wasn't he promoted?
He was promoted recently, so now he's a direct reportee.
To like deal with the government, so doesn't have to go there. Yeah, I read that.
Okay. So you catch something or caught something during
that wasn't COVID, yeah.
And it wasn't COVID, yeah. Okay. Oh, nice. All right.
Let's see. The week is still young. Okay. You could still catch COVID. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay, let's move on. Next thing on the menu is the usual yearly article from Supercell CEO Ilkka Pananen. Maybe let's first read the facts and numbers and then get into semantics. So Supercell's revenue increased by 45% to 2.24 billion in 2021. As Supercell published their financial results compared to previous year, which was 1.48, which was the, I think, 5th or 6th year of continuous decline. And this is the first time that the tide has turned around, which is a 45% year-over-year increase. And the studio generated profits before taxes of 852 million, which is like 80% growth compared to 2020, 463 million.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, but again, if we compare it to the height that they achieved in 2015, it was 2.326 million. 2.3 billion something.
What was the number, Mr. Tony Remiar?
Which one?
Again, 2 billion. Okay.
2 billion and 326 million.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. And that was their peak profit also. Oh no, sorry, they took it down. 848 was the profit. So they went over their peak profit now. The other part of the post was about Ilkka talking about his mistakes, and pretty much it was all in this kind of a tone that we're amending what we were clinging on, and always. Like the mantra that Supercell always used, that small teams are the ones that pretty much brings the best results, was pretty much shattered, I would say, where even when you read through the updates and the whole feature set of the games that they even mention in the article, it's more based on live ops because there weren't that many new games coming out from Brawl Stars. All the games, if I understand correctly, are still in soft launch, so after Brawl Stars, they didn't global launch anything else. No,
not really.
If I get that right?
Yeah.
So pretty much all the work is done based on their live ops capabilities that are steadily improving, which probably means the Supercell finally got the point that they really need a much more stronger live ops team, as they cannot compete with all the other companies on the market, which are really big teams running their live ops.
Of course.
The games are pretty much,
If you have like a team of 5-6 people and you are having a game with multi-million revenue a day, or a couple of billions also during the year, basically, you can't run it with five people. Come on. And then what he mentioned there, I mean, this is just a really nice PR piece. Obviously, it's really nice from him that he takes all the blame. As a CEO, he should. I mean, that's really nice of him. But seriously, like, how come
the whole industry was talking about this like 3 years before?
How come we didn't see it up until now? I mean, the revenue is declining 6 years in a row, and now suddenly 5. Okay, sorry, 5. Oh. That's completely different story then. If it's only 5, I was like, how come you can't see it seriously? And then he mentions the burnout of the people. As of course, I mean, if you're running these live op systems with 5 people, of course they are going to be burnout.
But I mean, like, it's completely turnaround here, because they even said that they have 7 games in soft launch or
7 games in different stages.
Yeah, different stages. Let's say that's the other thing. But also don't forget that they opened the new console PC focused studio in Montreal.
Yeah.
Which I think is the first time where a mobile company actually goes back to the PC console stage. I like. Do we know of any other examples where like a mobile company is going into PC and console? Like in the scale of Supercell.
I think Deep Silver did it, but that's just because they kind of failed in mobile, so it was kind of retreating. So
I don't know, but I never saw anything like this before. So for me, it seems that maybe they got the word from Tencent that maybe it's time to start again growing or diversifying at least.
If Tencent is standing right behind you and is like whispering in your ear, like, "Hey,
but guys, you haven't seen Tencent stock price like over the last half year with kind of the punishments in China. Like, I'm sure he got a call from
exactly
Tencent being like, "Hey, man, it's time to grow."
Yeah. Put your shit together and turn this around.
Start growing.
But like, I read his letter. Like, he came across as very thoughtful. Like, I thought it was a well-written letter. I wonder if he wrote it, if he had a ghostwriter, or if he wrote it. Like, you've had the most interactions with him, Matej. Like, does that sound like him?
Well, I didn't have any interaction with him personally, so I have no idea.
So nobody did here.
I have no idea. But the words on the street is that he definitely writes this, but it's little bit edited by the PR department, which makes sense, obviously. But yes, it was very, very well written piece. But all that everybody wanted to hear, basically, like too good to be true. So I really would love to see those deep discussion he mentioned in the in the piece. Okay, so we really thought this through, and now we're changing everything. We are definitely considering our employees' health before everything else. Yeah, sure. I mean, again, where were you last couple of years? This is not like, okay, suddenly we know what we need to do.
How do they run UA? Do you know in Supercell?
Yeah, that's also one of the big elephants in the room.
Yeah, so basically they have
an agency.
No, well, they have the UA in or department or people in San Francisco, and then they have some kind of agency somewhere. Nobody knows.
I think a Swedish agency. That's what I've heard. The rumor that was based somewhere in Sweden.
Well, you're from Sweden, so you should know, Mr. Swedish. I have no idea. But really.
I remember bumping into a Supercell designer and talking about stuff in PGC, and he just said, "We don't do UA."
Yeah,
I don't believe that.
That was usually the official stance you would get from Supercell.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, we don't run performance marketing." Like, yeah, sure. I mean, come on.
Don't believe it.
Still, but if you compare Supercell to Playrix, Supercell is definitely very keen on their branding. That's yes, sure, of course, I get it. But it's not how the UA is done these days. Wake up. Seriously. I mean, yes, brand is really important, of course, blah, blah, blah. But now, I mean, the data is important. And if whatever works, use it.
I think it's more of a reluctance to get your hands dirty from Supercell side, in a way that they're trying to still preserve the kind of pureness of their IPs and everything, and they wouldn't consider running, let's say, a fake ad thing like Playrix does all the time.
Exactly.
Exactly. They just don't have any,
they don't have the balls
barriers
to do it. They don't have the balls to do it. Oh, but it's look. So there was some kind of discussion about why they don't have the ads in the game, only in Heyday, and I read somewhere okay, so they were making $200K a day, but then they said it's peanuts. Comparing to the in-app revenues, and then they don't want to destroy their brand with ad revenue. It's okay. Well,
that's also a bit of an ancient view, if you ask me. Because
exactly.
What are the percentage of people who purchase? Even putting ads 5 days after, you get a user, if they haven't purchased or showing any signals, that just makes complete sense. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's not like 2013 or 14 anymore. It's everybody is looking at ads it's a cancer, but now, you can make serious money.
I mean, if they're earning 200K a day on one game, easily they could be making a couple mil a day, competing with kind of the likes of Voodoo,
exactly.
The DAUs they are having. But it's just they're nope, and fine, purity of the brand, I get it, but that's what's the purity of the brand worth? That's a lot of money you're leaving on the table, and it's a very easy avenue of growth. Instead of risking building a new game, you could take what you already have, put in ads to some of the user base, and then Tencent would be happy, and you wouldn't have to take as big risks building new games.
Yeah, and
I think it was also a matter of the let's say, the portfolio direction. Because if you look at their games before, Supercell was always considered to be the most innovative company in the industry and being the trendsetter. All the games that they did were pretty much creating their own genre or remastering something that worked great on PC and then putting into mobile. But lately, if you compare, let's say, Rush Wars and Heyday Pop, this was, I think, like the really first time they pretty much followed the trends on the market and didn't really innovate that much. Now that they have all the Clash games spin-offs in soft launch, there's a lot of innovation coming from that side.
Oh, really? There is one game, I'm not sure which Clash it is, which looks completely like Legends of Solgard. I mean, that's like the same game. How is that innovative?
I'm not talking about all of them.
Okay. Sorry.
Some of them. Like let's take for instance Everdale.
Okay.
Everdale is a really, really risky shot because they pretty much wanted to turn a 4X game into some kind of cooperative Farmville. Which and remember it was in soft launch under Osmium Interactive, which was this kind of fake account company. So they're still taking the risky shots, but it's not as, I would say, bold as it was before because it's not that easy, I would say.
And you know what I don't really understand? So they have the game in soft launch with Osmium Interactive, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. They have KPIs.
They turn it back on their account.
And then they turn it back on their account. Like, why? I mean, why would you do that? And
why don't you global launch it already?
Exactly. So you are getting the data there. So what's the point? I really don't understand that.
Maybe they hope that, when you put games on Supercell account, the community of Supercell players pretty much jumps on them and then they get the traffic that they need. Or, like different KPIs.
It's just like the lowest hanging fruit here is do performance marketing and put in ads for the non-paying user of the segment. And then it's like, such low hanging fruit.
Yeah, maybe you should call Ilka and tell him this. Nobody told him that.
Yeah, because nobody, again, has the balls to actually speak up. But maybe we are making this up. No, but...
Yeah, we don't know anything that's going on in there, so it's easy to be from the outside. But for me, from the outside, it looks very clear. Performance marketing and ads will solve most of your issues.
Definitely, all the respect to Supercell. I mean, I wish I have a company that produces multi-billion revenue. Of course. But, you can do even better. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing that everybody's pretty much pointing out all these years, that there's so much like potential that they still could get, even though they were 5 years in decline in a row.
Like Ilka said, like he was stubborn. Then he was the one who wanted to have the small teams. So I get it. Let's see how that changes now and over time in the future as well. But look, they said now they are willing to be putting more risks or like trying to be a little bit more risky in terms of, launching more games and not making like multi-billion hit, but some millions here and there would be definitely.
I'm really looking forward to the PC game they will release. I'm
not
so much stuff that they can do. They have one of the best designers in that company.
Yeah, sure, of course. But mobile designers, not PC or console designers.
Mobile designers are pretty much just, in my opinion, you just need to take care of much more variables than like PC designers.
Okay. Oh yeah,
because I get that like it takes a completely different skill set to create something like God of War or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But in the end, do you think they will be going for a premium game? I don't think so. They will be going for a PC free-to-play game.
Really?
That's my guess. Of course. Do you think that they're really going to go for PC premium?
Yeah, that actually does make a lot of sense.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, because they're Supercell, they can do whatever they like.
You have one of the best designer innovative teams in free-to-play, and you want to diversify into PC. You go into premium?
Well, look, they are soft launching their games on iOS, which doesn't make any sense. So why do
Oh, that's part of that brand thing. I don't know. No, let's not go there.
Right.
Okay. Let's see.
My bet is PC, free to play, an awesome game, awesome design, and to be honest, I think it will be cross-platform. Something like Genshin. You will be able to play it both on PC and both on mobile.
Okay, so you already sent an application to Supercell, right? So now you're just trying to get in.
No. Wishing them all the best.
Yeah, wishing them all the best.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we can bitch about all.
Well, we won't, but we haven't achieved anywhere close to anything they've achieved. So exactly. At the end of the day, Should we move on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually one of the most exciting admon news I think I've read about in like last year. So Spotify is acquiring 2 major podcast tech platforms. They announced on Friday it's acquiring both charitable and pod sites, and these are the most prominent podcast marketing and ad attribution companies. And this is kind of the next 2 acquisitions Spotify has been making in a long line of acquisitions. And they have stated that they will start to programmatically insert ads into podcasts on their platform.
Ooh.
So how does this relate to gaming? So my theory is that they will open this up kind of with audio, like kind of with Audio and Audio Mob. And then they'll start running game ads in like gaming ads and ads in games as well. And we might actually be seeing the kind of fan or like Google making for kind of monetization on audio ads, which will be the bigger one. So
Nice.
I'm actually quite excited because if a big player like this steps in, you always get the high ECPMs, and that could actually kickstart the audio ad revolution that people have been talking about. So what I wanted to discuss with you guys was, Matej, do you think you'll be able to do UA for gaming or with audio ads only?
Well, why not? I mean, that's what I mentioned on the first during the first session. I mean, the audio ads for games is definitely going to be interesting this year. I know Jakub has a very different opinion about that, but I don't care.
Okay, let me get this straight.
Okay.
So do I get it right? That Joe Rogan and Elon Musk are talking about conquering Mars, and then there's a commercial break where fake Hero Wars ads run.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you could get that's the big discussion that's been on all the forums. So let's say that Lex Friedman is having a discussion with Elon, and then programmatically is inserted an ad about Bank of America. Will people want to buy that? Or do they kind of like the fact that the podcast people they follow read out the ads in the start that you can skip? So that's the big question. Will this work? I personally think yes, and I'm actually quite excited about it.
I skip the ads all the time, to be honest.
Of course, because you are the skeptic of all skeptics around the world. I mean,
I'm not skeptic.
Of course,
I'm pragmatic, man. I just want to listen to the podcast.
Of course, I do it as well. I mean, I'm pretty much skipping all the ads on DOF as well, and then the ones in the middle as well, because I mean, I'm there for listening podcast.
No, but I have converted on on these ads. This week in startups, I converted, got some free credits for LinkedIn ads. They do work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not? It's just a new UA channel which can be effective. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of interesting information and very difficult start. It's going to be messy, but then it kind of evolves to some degree that you can actually.
You'll see hyper casual adopting it the first, and then basically it'll trickle up into the gaming genres, and then if Spotify moves in and does third party, that will be then it will be a new format, 100%.
What are we talking about? Really?
Of course.
What do you have against audio ads?
Yeah, why not?
I know you're the designer, but come on, putting them in there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to some fake audio ads. That's gonna be marvelous. That's gonna be great. But the problem I see it here is that I don't know if the intent or the temptation can be so big as with something visual, because let's say hyper casual ads are just based purely on this. Purely.
Now that I can agree with, but I'm just saying it's not going to be a substitute. It's going to be a complement.
Yeah, just one other channel or format that you run alongside the core UA. The same thing. That's the same thing with influencers. I mean, if you use influencers as a main UA channel, well, you're pretty much fucked because you can't control it completely.
I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying it won't be that big of a deal, because if I how I'm viewing it is pretty much based on the overall portion. It could be 5% to 15% of your spend. That's it. Goodbye.
But my argument is, if Spotify actually comes in and starts doing it properly, it will be a bigger deal than just 5%.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, of course. That could be it. Yeah.
That was the whole point, man. That was the whole point.
I just don't think Remo wants to design any of the games he's overseeing with audio ads.
Yeah, but he will have to in the future. You will see that.
I would rather do crypto ads or,
Mr. Crypto ads, okay?
Save that talk for next week, huh?
Yeah, you should.
Should we move on to the main topic?
Sure, of course. Let's do that. So I have some questions to you guys because I'm always getting these, and I know the answers, but I'm usually getting these from either founders or game designers or admin managers or anyone from the company. So I definitely want to hear your opinions and answers to these. So let's start. For example, this is my favorite one. So my game has amazing organic downloads. I don't need any UA at all. Everything is fine. So what would you think about this kind of statement?
So first and foremost, the person who asked this is either someone who works at Fingersoft or Cybo.
That's probably what also was in my mind.
Very true.
I would say to that probably just the fact that if you can actually scale your game with programmatic UA spend, you can reach such new levels of revenue that you can't otherwise, because you can target the users that are high value or will watch ads, and you can scale the game to higher levels than you do with just organic. And if you're not doing UA at that point, you're leaving a lot of money on the table by just taking the organic piece of the pie.
But you also need some LTV for that in the game.
How did I do, Matej?
That would be my...
Yeah, well, you did very good. That answer is actually correct. But the thing is, you can't control the organics. So basically, one day Google comes or Apple comes and then just turns off everything, and then what can you do with your company?
You cannot do anything. You are at the mercy of the algorithm, pretty much.
Exactly. I know, for some reason, these first games that were published on both stores, they still get thousands, hundreds of thousands organics per day for 10 years already.
It was even, I remember that famous tweet for Tim Sweeney where he said, stores are shit. I type Fortnite and the first thing I get is hill climb racing.
That's very true. But, the hill climb racing is still a pretty good game. But also, the thing, like you said, Felix, you need to run the UA just to get, more money. So of course, you are getting the organics, which is a very nice extra revenue. But then the higher LTV players, they are out there, and you can target them. And it's obviously not free as the organics, but still, that's something that you can control and actually grow because you have the control over it.
I would say this is pretty much like a side effect of companies that have grown on the organics because all the other ones died pretty much. And then some of those pretty much stayed afloat, maybe even not knowing why, to be honest, all respects to everybody, but sometimes that is what happens because virality cannot be really targeted. You're just obtaining somehow and nobody knows how. And then at some point you kind of accept the fact that this is how it is and you think this is the right way to do it. So you don't even think about something that,
can be done.
Something different.
Yeah, but the thing is, sometimes the argument against the UA is okay, so when I started doing UA, then the organics dropped, so I won't ever do it again because I will fuck up my organics.
Don't touch it if it makes money.
Yeah, exactly. Don't touch it if it's not broken. It's no. It's it's really, you can't argue that because sometimes it happens, but it's definitely an algorithm play, so you can't influence it anyhow. But yeah, it's always fighting against this. So, the UA is not evil. It's actually something that can help you grow the game and the company as well. If I always say you need to diversify the UA portfolio, and this is the same thing because if you are putting all your eggs in one organic basket, that's not very much.
Leave your revenue in the hands of Apple and Google for the rest of your life. I feel safe.
Exactly.
Yeah. But there's also the other side of the spectrum here, where people just mindlessly rush with UA and they think UA will save their game.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the other part that's like pretty bad.
Yeah.
That you should not do that.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of people think that the UA will save everything. So if you have shitty KPIs, like, okay, so this is the game, scale it. You are the UA expert, ninja, whatever. Like, yeah, well, but you can scale the game until the LTV allows you to do so. So if you have very low LTV, you can run profitable UA, but it's going to be spent around a couple of hundreds a day.
Crash Bandicoot comes to mind.
Or Super Mario.
That's the thing. And like you can do whatever UA you can, but it won't scale because you don't have the KPIs. And unfortunately, you can do a lot of creative optimization, different channels, and whatnot. But that's gonna move the needle, I don't know, like by 10-20% maybe. So if you really want to scale the game, then the LTV needs to be really high, or high enough to support the scale. The thing is, like scale as a phrase, or scale the game, is like the scale is very much different for a lot of people. I mean, scale. What does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly. I would still say like this is just like, again, kind of an afterthought of not doing your market research properly, because when you're doing your market research, you're benchmarking against your competitors. So you at least know who are the games that are pretty much doing the same or going against you. One thing that you should also try to get, or let's say find out, is how's their UA going? How's their creatives? Or how are the creatives they are running? How is probably the height of their CPI?
Yeah, well, the CPI is very, very tricky. You can't very much say if it's low, high, in the middle. It's something you don't see, so that's very tricky. So
yeah, but you at least get some kind of a grasp on reality. If let's say you're going into Forex segment,
yep.
So what can you expect? $1 CPI? Probably not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. You see now the ants underground that we discussed. So they are right now, as we said, like accounting for like 90% or like maybe 90% of the revenue in the animal insect theme, which grew by 900% or something like that. So they're apparently making a lot of money, and based on their ads, what they are actually running at the moment, I would say the CPIs are pretty low, but it's just my assumption.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's the same thing that Top War uses.
Yeah,
the Top War ditched the base building gameplay for the easy merge gameplay, which is this kind of a easy to approach funnel. But that at some point, here's the Forex game. We want the money.
Yeah, of course. But they're definitely, the Top War is also using like this like hyper casual approach that I was predicting is going to explode in like during 2022, and it's already happening. No, but that's actually the trend that I see at the moment.
Yeah, but it's looking at it from like higher perspective, is both on design side innovation and UA side innovation.
Sure, of course. Yeah, but then design, again, it comes down to the CPI LTV equation, and then there we are again.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we are again. Okay, so there's also the question about like what is hard and challenging about the UA, that everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. So Felix, you can run the UA if you want. Is it true?
Here's the thing.
What's the challenging part about doing UA?
Yeah, like because people think like UA is really easy, like everybody can do it. So I mean, yes, okay, but I will leave you with your answers.
So here's what I've always wondered: is it a bit like Admon, where you need to kind of know how these systems kind of work and like kind of know how they're built? Like, for example, knowing that in Admon Unity, if you keep your placements non-archived, that will decrease performance, and they don't tell you that. You just need to know it from like doing it. And by doing it, like with all these different like Bungle, Iron Source, Facebook, Google, by doing it, there's so many cracks you can fall into that like knowing it actually improves the chance of success? Or I actually have no idea.
Okay, Jakub?
I would say UA in these days is pretty much in the same weight as like the whole development of the game. Because if you do this like first part good and then you screw up UA, you don't scale anywhere and pretty much your game is dead. So it's as same weight as would be the development of the whole game, in my opinion. The other thing is that it's immediately seen in effect. That's like one of the bigger problems, because if development team does something bad, the only time you can see it is the first time they actually gain some KPIs, which is day one retention. Everything's great always in every game development until you hit the day one retention. With UA, you see it immediately, because immediately you see like skyrocket high CPI because your creatives are shit, or there's no ROAS, or targeting's off, or even worse that you screw up your data check and your attribution is shit.
Yeah, you don't see anything.
So it blows in your face immediately. Whereas with the development of the game, it slowly goes and trickles somewhere that it shouldn't supposed to go. So that's the other thing. The other part of the coin is that you're trusting people with really big sums of money.
Okay.
And that's like the responsibility of that. And you have usually CEO breathing at your neck that like, where's the ROAS? When's the money gonna arrive back? And our cash flow, especially if it's a first game for the company.
Yeah.
So that's the other part of the thing that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
That you're pretty much the person that determines the fate of the company.
Yeah, that's what I said actually on one podcast like many years ago. Like, so if I screw up, the company dies immediately, because I spend a lot of money and then you won't see the money coming back in the future. It's like, okay, so bye. you won't see me anytime. So that's what I don't do. I usually like grow the budget slowly from somewhere. But getting back to the question, like if the UA is easy, I mean, setting up the campaign, super easy. Anybody can do it. I mean, my 4-month-old daughter could probably do it. But then what? That's the thing. Yeah, she's pretty skillful already, Don't worry.
I thought this was a no bullshit podcast.
Okay, no bullshit podcast. Sorry. Okay. No, really. Okay, so anyone can really do it. The thing is, like, what happens afterwards? That's the main part. Like you, Jakub said, you need to be able to get the ROAS. What happens when the campaign is not performing? What do you do then? How the creative performance look like? How does your creative process look like? When do you refresh creatives? When do you actually add the new channels? How do you structure the UA channels in general? So it's like lots of moving parts, which usually nobody sees because it's something that you do on the background. So that's a very similar thing that we discussed with Dream Games and Royal Match. I mean, those guys, they know exactly what they are doing on the game because they already done it before at peak. And this is the same.
And even though it looks completely dire, keep that in mind. Like you're spending millions and millions a day not hoping, but knowing that they will return. Yeah. And it looks really bad on the balance sheet.
The thing is, like how you look at these like paybacks periods. So you already, that was my question, like what is the payback period we should look at? But I will just jump right in because with this game, they are looking at 1.5 years. But you have small studio. You need to look at your cash flow, your bank account, and be very mindful of that. And that's how I structure the budget and then look at the payback period. Because if you have, spending 50K and you need to have that 50K in 30 days, that's the payback period you are looking at. But you need to keep in mind you will see actually those money in 45 days out of the Apple and Google. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy because
if you overextend, you're pretty much
Yeah, exactly. What would you do? Like you spend all the money you have on the bank account, and then how you pay your employees? Because you will see the money in 45 days. So the cash flow is really important. The money in bank account is important, and then like the tolerance to risk is also very much important. And looking at the early KPIs and how the LTV curve look like, that's how you can expect or when the money is coming back. Actually,
I would say tolerance to risk equals trust to data here. in a way that, you were in this position before, how this goes, how this works, if you are, checking these check marks along the way. And that's the difference between someone going like, oh, really, do we need to spend that much money? Or like, let's scale this up because we know how it will work. So that's the big difference. I think it's this kind of a binary problem that you just need a person with the experience to push you towards that because they know what they are doing. Like it's same when we were, let's say, I remember when we were developing stuff for some kind of really, really technical programming with the VR stuff that we will be working on, and like 5 programmers couldn't solve it. And then comes the one really skilled one and solves it in a week.
Of course.
But those 5 programmers will be sitting on it for 2 months doing pretty much all they could, but couldn't solve it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, but you need to look at it from the studio perspective. I mean, they don't have the UA capabilities in-house, so they hire an agency or a consultant. And it's really hard to actually, trust people with loads of money. Because I just had a call a couple of days ago with one guy from a VC fund. And he also said, like, look, so it's very hard actually to find trustworthy and good people, good UA people in the agencies nowadays, because it's like a lot of fake experts and scammers around us who are speaking at different conferences and sharing bullshit and fake news basically. So like if you trust someone with spending like multi-million a month, then like it's it can backfire pretty much very quickly.
Yeah, usually if you're spending multi-million money, you have the in-house UA. Just want to say that.
Yeah, well, yes and no. Yes and no. You have some in-house, but like what happened with these like big companies in US. So you have the in-house UA who is just managing the agency and saying, okay, so you spend here, you spend there, and they don't do anything basically, and then if the agency screw up, then they will just point finger, oh well, they fucked up. It's not my responsibility.
Cover your ass.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so I do have some more questions, but do you have any questions you wanted to ask me actually? Because
ask you actually.
I am the
I actually wanted to ask, around like the like what are currently right now the biggest 4 biggest channels, because everyone knows that first 2 is Google, Facebook.
Yeah.
But aside from that, what are the 3 biggest ones, and can you mention some positives and negatives? Because I deal on the admon side and I know what it is from my side and what the negatives are, but from UA I have no idea. Yeah,
there's besides Facebook and Google is Unity, Uplavin, and I would say TikTok maybe these days, and Snapchat there, here and there. The big positive about TikTok is the very low CPI, basically comparing it to Facebook, which is 4 times, 5 times less. Quality is similar. Now the Facebook quality decreased. But, you need to spend some money to get the first data in and then switch to app event optimization.
How much is that to spend usually?
Depends on the channel, somewhere between 10, 20K, I would say, but it's just a ballpark. But still, very similar to what you run on Unity or Uplavin, because you need to get first installs and some level of purchase data to be able to run the ROAS campaigns. And that's the biggest negative, because sometimes you need to run it for a long period of time and spend a lot of money, and especially with Uplavin. It's just sometimes you need to have 1,000 installs per day from one country to be able to open up some campaigns on Uplavin. So, and that's not cheap.
That sounds like the lift off 25K learning budget.
Yeah, well, I had 50K learning budget for lift off back in days, which is definitely why I don't work with DSPs. Because, you need to spend a lot of money to get somewhere, and, it's still very questionable.
Okay. I have the burning question that I always have in my mind.
Why
do fake ads creatives works for some games and for others not?
Well, the thing is, you have... I'm not sure how does it work for Hero Wars, but I guess they're running a lot of fake ads and they already adjusted their store. So the thing is, even if you run fake ads and you don't have anything in the store in regards to those fake ads, it probably won't work because you are creating some level of expectation for the player with the fake ads. And when they land into the store, they don't see it, then they just churn immediately. That's why the one game, I'm not sure what was the name of the game, but they implemented the fake ad into the first 2 screenshots and then even before tutorial, so you saw the really fake ad in the game.
You mean the playable?
Exactly, like a playable, and then after the weird match, whatever that was, fake ad, you actually entered the like 3D CGI amazing game, which has nothing to do with the fake ad. It's like I was reading the comment.
Did that work?
Hero Wars also. Hero Wars also did that.
Hero Wars,
that day, but there's no super CGI game afterwards.
Yeah, but there's one. I'm not sure what was the game, the game name, but I will find out and let you know, guys. So that was.
And if we take some kind of a recent example, so let's take for instance Ants Kingdom.
Yep.
Because their ads are also, I would say,
pretty much
really
fake, of course. But
but there's really high quality. There's a big difference between a Hero Wars or Garden Skies or let's say any Player X game ad and Ants Kingdom fake ad.
Yes, but if you look at the Hero Wars, it's all about these towers and the fighting.
But that's just the new gimmick they're using.
That's new gimmick.
Before it was what that pins and falling into lava. Now the towers. In like half a year it will be something different.
Of course, with these ants, so it's not only about like it. Definitely it's fake, but you're using the ants and the whole logic around these ants, and they're creating a story. And now in the comments I was reading like, okay, wow, this is a great episode. I'm looking forward to see another ad from you guys. So like they're creating this story. It's different angles. It's not only the frog example I mentioned on the previous session. I mean, they're using now way different.
Yeah, like they have the Zeus one.
Yeah.
Fall from the sky as a human.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really great. And then they are also doing this hyper casual adaptation of the games to the creatives that I mentioned previously. They do this as well. I mean, they're now copying some hyper casual games as well. So they have really like very big portfolio of the creatives. So like we don't know which of these creatives work exactly, but since they're using so many of them, some of these definitely stick and work. But we don't know which.
So that's like a similar approach that Lily's Garden did for us. I know. Merge Mansion also jump on this, where you have this kind of a revolving story. I think there's like videos even on YouTube where you have all the creatives in one coherent story with like those, giving the husband a pregnancy test when he flies into the sunset and stuff like that.
Exactly. And I mean, that was really revolutionary, the Lily's Garden creatives. But now, like, do you see those still? No. I mean, that was just, very nice trend. And now, unfortunately, you can't see it anymore. So now, you need to adapt that creative strategy again to something else. It worked. Now it's, I'm not sure anymore.
So if, let's say, I'm a company, I'm the whatever CEO, product manager, doesn't matter. And we are some kind of pretty good scale, let's say, 400, 500K a month revenue with some decent ROAS of, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months return. And we want to scale high and we ask you, can we do fake ads? Will it help us? What would you say?
Well, you can do whatever you like. That's the first answer. The thing is, I don't like fake ads in general. I mean, hard to say what is fake and what is not fake. Obviously, if you say Hero Wars, that's fake, of course. But ants, I wouldn't call that fake that much. Even though it's very similar.
In there or no? Would you put Gardenscapes ads in like the ants category or not?
Gardenscapes are the Hero Wars category.
They're definitely fake. Definitely fake. But
fake.
For example, Royal Match, is that fake ads? What they are doing? They are but they are combining the game elements with some kind of like fake concepts. But still, they're the match mechanics. There's the king, and I totally see why it works. So I would say let's use different concepts. Let's put some of the fake creatives in that creative testing, and see what kind of numbers we can get from each concept. And then based on that concept, we can create a new creative strategy for the whole game, basically. And usually the first creative mix would be looking at something really crazy, some fake ads, something that is very much connected to the gameplay as well. And then most probably some other angle that's playing into the player's emotions as well. So, in this case, you will have like 6 very different creatives and very different creative angles. And then you will see what kind of numbers you can get out of that. Because, I can say whatever I want again. That's only my opinion. That's the thing. I mean, that's my opinion. I do have some experiences, but data won't lie. So we need to see the data and then based on that make a decision. Would that be a good answer, Mr. Jakub?
No. Like that's good, but I'm still not that much wiser.
Okay, Mr. Okay, so what would you wanna hear?
I think a yes or a no answer was he was going for.
No. Like maybe let's reframe it a little bit. How do you think like this whole trend will go? Like looking into the future, and will there be any regulation that actually going to cut it, or like is there any even possibility in like remotely cutting this?
Facebook already said that they are cutting down the fake ads. Obviously, it's not happening. So there might be some regulation at some point in the future, but how would you do it? So would need to
would you check?
Yeah, exactly. Like manual checks, most probably no. So there is already some kind of algorithm that bans your ads, and then you review or like make an appeal, and then the manual review you can run it again. So it's definitely not useful, but from what I see and what I think it's gonna work, again, the hyper casual games adapting to the real gameplay and some kind of middle ground as Royal Match is doing at the moment. Because that's still, you are showing some elements of the gameplay, at least. That's not deceiving that much. So yeah.
Do you think there's still like space for games to use something like, let's say, those really high production value CGI ads,
of course.
Let's say Raid Shadow Legend uses?
Of course, I mean, but do you have the budget for it? That's the thing.
Have you ever run any campaigns when like the creatives are like Lilith game like levels of like quality?
Have you seen the recent Rise of Kingdoms ads with these like really weird actors there? Man, terrible. Or maybe it works. I don't know.
So you've never run any like campaigns when it's like super high quality production values in the creatives?
I ran those kind of campaigns last year, and when I compared the creative performance between these like super high CGI videos, definitely high production, and with something that is more like gameplay related and a little bit of like a noob versus pro type of creative, guess which one won? The noob versus pro, obviously.
So this boils down all to like it's still not worth to throw that much money on production value of the ads. Rather increase the frequency of having better noob versus pro.
It makes my life as an admin person so much easier because you never get complaints about the high production value ones. You always get complaints with the noob versus pro ads.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, I wouldn't say like, okay, do more noob versus pro ads. That wouldn't be sustainable. So you need to have like multiple concepts on different angles on the creative side, even the CGI. I mean, but the CGI concept needs to be connected somehow to the real game. That's the only thing. And if you run it for an RPG game, the CPI will be insanely high.
So how did we do? How did the game designer and admon person do with all these UA questionings? Did we do good?
Yeah, it definitely did good.
Look at that. You could have Rima. Maybe we should get into UA.
Yeah, run UA. Yeah, of course. You should definitely start some campaigns.
Yeah, we should do this next time with the game design angle. That would be interesting.
That's actually scary.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do that.
Can we do that? Like, I'm 100% in.
I mean, okay.
Challenge accepted, I think.
Yep. Yeah. But like we have Nico next time, so the
one after that, man.
Yeah, the one after.
Yeah. At least you have time to prepare something.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be a bit more stupid.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Yeah, I guess, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. And, now you can be UA managers, finally.
Best of luck.
In 3 weeks, I can be a game designer as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.